Single tier, everyone. It's the end of an era. It's time to say goodbye to our beloved FRS. If you've been a long-time viewer or subscriber to our channel, you will, of course, recognize this Scion FR-S. It's a 2013 first model year for this car, and man, we have certainly put it through its paces, haven't we, PT? This car is one of the original two cars on our channel.
Yes.
This and the AS 2000 is what really it all started with, and in fact, this was never going to be a Speed Academy car. We actually had a deal done with Toyota Canada, who still own this car, to take it to Targa, Newfoundland, through Modified Magazine, where Pete used to be the editor-in-chief and I used to be a senior writer, columnist, editor, whatever you want to call me. That magazine shuttered, and that's when we started Speed Academy, and Toyota Canada was kind enough to let us continue with the Targa program. So that's what we did, and if you go back into our archives on the channel, you will find a ton of content on this car.
And we do have what I think is one of the coolest videos with like the lowest amount of views that we ever did.
Yeah, you're right.
So you guys should certainly go watch it.
Yeah, go back and watch that Targa episode that really kind of encapsulates our whole experience there. Our buddy Dan shot that for us. Then we kept building this car for the following year for the Ontario 1500, which was a 7 tracks in 7 days competition. There was a lot of driving, a lot of track action. There was autocrossing and time attack. There was a high-speed run. Really fun event, and we actually ended up winning that. We did supercharge the car, though, for that year, and it was making, I think, around 272 wheel horsepower. Since then, we added that high boost pulley and got that up to 312 at the wheel. And really, at that power level, this thing is remarkably reliable and really quite quick. You know, around TMP, we got it down into the 117s on these Nankang AR1 tires. And we refined the aero, obviously. We put that Voltex wing on the back. We had a splitter on the front, which we eventually destroyed. Like all splitters, they do go to heaven eventually, and we never did get around to rebuilding it. This car's been also incredibly reliable, hasn't it, Pete? The only mechanical failure we've ever had, I think, are the rear axles that we've blown up just in the last year, when we've done a lot of tire testing with this car. I am very sad to see it go because it is the first car that we really built for a competition and had a lot of fun with. But it is time to move on. It's got to go back to Toyota Canada, so we are going to part this puppy out. Figured while we're tearing this thing down, we'll give you a review of all the parts that we've run on it and you know, how they've performed over time. And we can start with these Advan Racing GT wheels, which are a forged 5-spoke wheel. And man, they have aged extremely well. They're dirty right now. They're covered in brake dust and stuff from the racetrack, but these were the wheels that we ran on the car for Ontario 1500, and man, they still look awesome. And as for the tires, these Nankang AR1s have seen a lot of action. Wow, we did a big tire shootout with these actually against a bunch of other 100 treadwear tires. We can put a link in the description or up in the top right corner there. And they have aged very well. You do have to run them at low pressures, like below 30 PSI hot, or you will wear them out quickly. But if you take care of them and you run them at the right pressures, so really impressed how durable these are. I like them a lot. And what else do we have here, Pete? We've got the lug nuts. These are not something...
A small item, but...
Small but important item. These are the Muteki Racing, what are they?
SR-45s.
SR-45s.
Yeah.
And man, these are like the original lug nuts we've had on this car for 6 years. And they're not rusty. They've never let us down. I really like them because they're a proper steel lug nut. They, you know, a lot of people run like aluminum ones, which expand at different rates than your wheel studs will, and they tend to loosen off, and they also tend to fatigue. The threads strip out of them. These are just really durable. So if you're looking for a very durable race grade lug nut, I think these are a great way to go.
Wonder how long this bug has been living in the front of this intercooler, man. This is our Jackson Racing Supercharger kit, and it has been flawless. It made 312 to the wheels with a high boost pulley. And we also have like their track setup, which includes an oil cooler and all that. And as you can see, I totally forgot about this. I had to add a bunch of ducting. Check out the clever work here. Kind of ghetto looking, but it was very functional ducting all around because we originally had issues with heat management. Like this car was overheating on us, and the moment we did the ducting work and we did the vents in the hood, it really let the heat get out of here, and we never ever saw creeping air temperatures even in the middle of summer. So that is certainly a mod worth doing if you are going racing with your Supercharged FRS. Vents and some ducting go a very long way.
I think you said creeping air temperatures, but you mean water temperatures, I think, Pete?
No. You know that I've used to run air through this thing. It's a new thing these days, DP. Water temps, yes. So I think what we're going to do now is begin the disassembly of the Supercharger, which I don't think is going to be too cumbersome. I can't believe how easily that Supercharger came off. We're into it like around an hour and everything is stripped. Now, a few things that we don't have. We don't have an AC compressor, so this beautiful racing AC delete pulley and setup is going to have to stay. We also don't have a factory rad, so the coil rad is staying. Now, before you guys message me and say, hey, I've got one, I can bring it by the time you're watching this video, this car will have been gone. So please don't send me any messages about swapping parts out. It's gonna be a little bit too late.
Meanwhile, over here we have swapped the stock brakes and suspension back in. Look at the condition of this stock strut and springs. These I don't think have ever really seen any road use because the car was immediately a race car, both the team that had it before us and then when we had it. So I think they put the car back to stock when we got it, then we immediately took these off and put the KWs on. So yeah, brand new shocks and springs, and calipers too look really good. The rotors look remarkably good. Obviously, we're not going to swap out the long wheel studs. Those will go with the car because that sounds like too much work to me. And what we took off was this Essex Sprint kit, which obviously uses an AP caliper, and it also uses an AP rotor, two-piece with aluminum center hat, and these really high-quality J-hook discs. These things are amazingly durable. We did change them out a year or two ago, only because we figured it was time, but frankly, looking at the condition of these and the ones we took off, the ones we took off still had lots of life left in them.
You know what though? These brakes were incredible.
They
like
really were.
On this car,
yeah.
We never ever had any issues. And I mean, lap after lap, we would beat on this vehicle and it would still, like, the brakes were the last thing on my mind. So
yeah.
This kit to me is such a huge, awesome addition to any FRS that uses, or that's on the track quite a bit.
Yeah, especially since the stock FRS brakes are pretty marginal on the racetrack. Great on the street, but they do overheat pretty quickly. This completely gets rid of the overheating and gives you like just amazing confidence and pedal feel. it transformed the car maybe as much as anything we did other than, say, the Supercharger. I think this big brake kit really was that impressive in terms of the performance it offered. As I mentioned, we did swap in these KW Clubsports, and man, these things have been incredibly durable. You can see they're two-way adjustable, compression and rebound, and we did add these racing top hats for extra camber adjustability, and I think they're also very low profile, so they allow you to get the car a little bit lower. And I was super impressed by the quality of these Clubsports because they've been on the car for 6 years. They survived Targa Newfoundland, and then it did Ontario 1500, and then it did like 4 more years of track testing and a million laps of TMP. So, and they never missed a beat. They've never leaked a drop of oil. They never felt like they've needed a refresh. They've just been perfect.
For the exhaust system, we were running a full header back Tomei system. We had an unequal length header and their up pipe, which remarkably I was able to remove. I thought we were going to have to like space the engine up. Usually you got to remove the mount and like move it up to fit this, but it cleared without any issue, which was great. And of course we have our beautiful Tomei titanium exhaust system. Man, this thing is beyond light. It's kind of crazy when I lift this thing up. Like it's so nice. And check out the hues that we have. This system has actually been put through the paces, which means it's got great colors now, which is super awesome. There is one thing that I am missing when installing the stock exhaust system. I realized I don't have the mid pipe that goes between the up pipe and the catback exhaust. I think we gave it to somebody, we borrowed it to them or something like that, but anyways, it's vanished. Thankfully, NV Auto seems to have something, so Dave has gone to pick that up and we'll be able to put this back in, and that thus completing, I think, the conversion of the engine and I guess exhaust system back to stock on this car.
Special delivery from NV Auto, and wow, PT, you got a lot of work done while I was gone.
I tried.
You're hammering it out here. I guess tearing a car apart is pretty easy, but usually putting it back together is not the easiest.
Well, and it's a race car, so like everything is already very accessible.
Yeah, and this car has no rust on it because it's never seen winter, so it's pretty impressive, although the exhaust is a little rusty. Anyway, this is a mid-pipe off of one of NV Auto's customers' cars that is no longer needed, so this will fill the gap in here, and that'll then mean we can fire this thing up, make sure it runs, and of course, we want to check that because it still has the Supercharger tune in the ECU. We will flash it back to stock.
Behold, one of the most striking and good-looking pieces on this vehicle, the Voltex swan neck wing. This thing is a work of art, and we actually did some testing with it, and it proved to be functional. At TMP, we took this wing off, went for a drive, put it back on to see the differences, and it certainly made a difference. This thing is a beast. I am going to be sad to see it go because when you just look at it, man, it just fits like every car. So cool. Even the new 993 GT3, or sorry, 992 GT3 has a swan neck, goes to show. And the really neat thing about this is it actually bolts up with this plate underneath that's been like molded to the trunk, so it gives it more rigidity. However, that didn't help from bowing the trunk here. If you can look in this area, you can see right around here, it's certainly given it a little bit of an indent pushed down on it, but you can see how flimsy this trunk is. So this is certainly a very functional piece, and I'm gonna be sad to see it go. As you guys saw me, I also replaced the axle on this side. And Dave replaced one before. We have two, as you can see, very broken axles. And we're not necessarily sure why that was happening, but at TMP, when we were loading up this side, it did snap the axles twice. So if you guys know, post in the comments, let us know, is it a matter of like the suspension binding or something happening, which blows these axles up? We did put a used one in. I think that was the one you did, right, Dave?
Yep.
And the theory goes that if it comes out of the opposite side of the diff, or the car, and you put it in on this side, it's already been weakened because now it's spinning the opposite way, so it causes extra load and it breaks. Anyways, let us know in the comments if you guys have any theories or a good definitive answer for us on why these blow up.
Are we ready to do this?
Let's see what happens.
Man, this thing's gonna sound so quiet comparative to what this was before, so.
Here goes nothing.
Here goes nothing. Oh boy.
I think the battery is maybe a little low.
Booster's on. Hit it. There you go. Wow, it's so quiet. All right, shut her down. Okay, well that's a good sign. That means it does run.
Yeah, it's weird how it just suddenly fired up like that.
Yeah, who knows?
Man, this might be the last time I sit in this race car. Feeling a little nostalgic about it and a little sad too, but wow, a lot of good memories come back sitting in here. I mean, just looking at our sticker bomb dash here and thinking how it all started with this build. You know, we had the stack gauges in here. And these Recaro seats, by the way, to this day, I've never found a racing bucket that I find more comfortable than these SPGs. They're just the right shape for me, and I think you find them really comfortable too, don't you,
Yeah,
Pete?
they're incredible.
They're just
so good.
Just put you in the right position this way. They support in all the right ways too. So
And you don't really get fatigued in them, which is
Exactly,
pretty incredible.
yeah.
Like we drove how many miles in these?
a lot of miles in these seats between Targa, Newfoundland, and Ontario 1500. Like,
We went to Grid Life once.
yeah, that's true. We drove it down to Michigan and back, and yeah, these most race seats, after an hour or two in them, your bum goes numb, your legs go numb. You're kind of unhappy. But in these, I don't think either of us ever really felt fatigued in them. So, love these seats so much. I don't think we're going to be selling these, Pete. I think we'll probably just repurpose them into another car.
I agree. I think so. Yeah.
They're really that good. And these Takata harnesses, by the way, these are not the street legal ones. These are actually like a race harness. But we found all the Takata stuff to be very high quality. This is all snap-in stuff, so it's easy to get out of the car.
Oh wait, bro, there was a recall.
Yeah, no, this is not airbag related. Don't worry. Separate departments, everyone. And one thing that people always ask us about was why didn't we ever put a racing wheel in here, a steering wheel? And my answer was always, well, we both liked this wheel. It was the right size and shape and contour, and we just didn't feel like it needed anything else. So,
Are you gonna miss getting out of this car, DP?
well, you know, getting in and out of race cars is not easy. I have lost a little weight lately, so it's a little easier to get in and out, but it's still not graceful.
Yeah.
If we were going to keep this car long term, actually, we had talked about maybe cutting the door bars out and doing a bit of like a GT inspired build on it, meaning like a Porsche GT. So class up the interior a bit, put some stuff back in it, but still keep it very like track focused.
Yeah, RS based. Yeah.
Yeah, RS. I think that was sort of the idea we kicked around. But it makes sense for this just to continue life as a race car. It's got a full cage in it, so I'm sure our friends at Toyota Canada will find very good use for it.
Now we do need a seat to put back into that car, and we did keep it the bucket seat that it originally came with, believe it or not. However, it is in a pile up there in the corner in that plastic bag. So I'm gonna try not to kill myself here. I'm going up into the full old storage rack. The stash, oh man, there's a bunch of S2000 parts on here, DP.
Oh man, more nostalgia.
Oh, but yeah, let's see how this goes here. I think I can step on, oh, ladder's gonna fall out from underneath me here. Holy smokes, there's like an FRS graveyard up here. This was a tow hook and a setup. What brand is this?
Oh man, I forget the name of those guys.
It's on here, it says twin hitch.
Slambert.
Slambert, there it is, yes,
right?
Slambert right here, Slambert Performance. So this is a hitch that actually bolts up through the tow hooks on through the rear bumper, which is super, super cool. Oh man, this seat, oh, it's a Sparco. It's been kicking around for a long time. Not in great shape, but let me get this down there and I'll show you guys what I mean. This thing is a gem. Boy, has it seen better days. Now, before you guys chirp us, this actually came with the car. So when we got it from the team before us, I think this was one of the spare seats or whatever they dumped into it. And you can see it's a Sparco Sprint. Man, this thing is old. It says 02. That's when it expires. So the build date probably means like 5 years prior to that. So late 90s. And from what I see here, they used the factory rails and cut them and then just like welded metal to it to bolt this thing in, which is, well, you could see there was a fire here.
Oh wow.
Like there was a little bit of welding done maybe when it was on here or something. I don't know. There's like points, but anyways, this is just for being able to move this car around. So now the real question is, will this bolt in there? Miraculously, we were able to get 2 of the 4 points bolted in. So we now have the seat that slides. I'm not gonna sit in this though. I definitely feel like it's just, there's a lot going on and maybe somebody else will. Maybe we'll put the garbage bag back over this thing, but this thing technically now you can sit in it. It does lock in place. It's not going anywhere, so it is drivable now. That is it, DP. It's over. End of an era. The FRS is going back to Toyota, which is sad, but as with all things, sometimes we got to move on. This opens the door for us to build another FRS, or maybe an 86, or the new 86, or a new BRZ. 2.4 liters sounds pretty good. Maybe a supercharger. Before you guys start sending messages and emailing me about these parts for sale, please don't do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna provide a link in the description to Kijiji, which is like Canada's Craigslist with all the parts that are still left for sale. A lot of this stuff has been spoken for. Some of it we're keeping, so please don't message me. Just check that link if you're interested in some of this stuff. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we will see you in the next one, which is probably gonna be a cleaning of the shop because we really need to get to that too.
Gonna miss you, old girl. I'm gonna miss you. But I do want to say thank you to Toyota Canada for letting us have so much fun with this car over the years. Hope you guys enjoy it as much as we have.